My name is Declan, and I'm a senior at Rowhurst High School. Every year, all the seniors get together to play a game. It's kind of a tradition in our school. The seniors would all go down to the Greenwater Bay stormwater tunnels and play hide and seek. This was typically played close to the end of the year, as a send-off, but it wasn't an official school game. It was a secret amongst the students. Many of the teachers were aware of the game and chose to let it continue. It's a hot topic amongst the students from your first year to your last, but the seniors are not allowed to discuss what happens during the game. I had heard many different stories, from mass orgies to cult rituals. The only thing we knew for sure is that one of the seniors is selected and informed on how to set up and run the game. My brother Sam went through the game a few years ago, and when I asked him what happened, he refused to tell me. It was coming to the end of the year, and the entire year was buzzing about it. I'd heard from my friend Millie that a guy named Ryan had been selected as the leader. I had never spoken to him, and we were in different friend groups, so I wasn't prepared to ask him about it. One afternoon, Millie pulled me into an empty classroom. "Hey, what the fuck, Mills?"
"It's tomorrow night. I heard Ryan talking about it on the phone during gym."
"Fuck, seriously? Should we tell people, or..."
"Are you kidding? Keep it to yourself. Just be prepared."
She gripped my arms with surprising force.
"It's finally here, dude. We're finally going to play it."
I winced at the force. Okay, I get it, Mills." He looked confused and let go.
"Oh, right. Sorry, Deck."
That night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. During dinner, I kept catching Sam glancing over the table at me. When I finished, I went upstairs and Sam followed me. When we got to the top of the stairs, he stopped me. "When is it?" His voice wobbled, and he sounded anxious. "Tomorrow night, I think. That's what I heard from Mills." "Listen to me. When you go down there, make sure you and your closest friends hide together. You cannot trust anyone down there. If you let anyone out of your sight for even a second, you could lose the game." He backed me into the corner. "What are you talking about?" He leaned right in next to me and whispered right into my ear. "Do not trust faces. You will know who is your friend and who is a seeker." Then he pushed something into my hand and walked off. I looked into my palm and saw a small mobile phone. It looked cheap, like it was bought from a gas station. I tried to turn it on, but it was dead. When I went to my room to charge it, nothing happened. The next morning I woke up early. I barely slept. At school, during English class, I got a message on my phone from an unknown caller. "Tonight, 11 p.m., Greenwater Tunnels. Do not reply to this message." I heard a few phones ding behind me. Everyone looked at each other. It was happening. At lunch, Millie found me, and I told her about the warning my brother had given me and showed her the phone.
"He's totally screwing with you, dude."
She playfully punched my shoulder.
"You're so gullible."
I fake laughed and pretended to agree. I knew my brother. He doesn't joke around or play pranks. I didn't have my license, so Millie would pick me up at 7:30, and I would sneak out. During dinner, Sam was staring at me the entire time. All these years hearing about the game had made me excited, but after hearing his warning, I wasn't sure I wanted to play now. I considered calling Millie and bailing out of it, but I couldn't. My curiosity wouldn't let me. I went to bed early, and at 7:26, Millie sent me a text.
"Outside, hurry up."
I put on a jacket and shoved the phone Sam gave me into my pocket. I snuck out the back door to avoid turning on our automatic sensor light and jumped the fence. We drove in silence for a while. I could tell the anticipation was eating away at Millie. What if there's something bad down there? I tried to sound casual.
"Like what, dude? A giant Harry Potter snake? Your brother is alive, isn't he? Can't be that bad, and none of the seniors have died from other years, so..."
I couldn't argue with that. We parked at the McDonald's a block away from the storm tunnels, and I could see a few groups of seniors do the same. We all walked to the entrance of the tunnel, where all the seniors stood in a semicircle in front of Ryan at the entrance of the tunnel. Ryan spoke up. His voice wobbled and cracked. I could tell he was also nervous. "Okay, guys. So, as I'm sure you're all aware, this is hide and seek." He looked down at his phone and started to speak again. "The rules are simple." He paused. "Rule number 1, we can only hide inside the tunnels. Anyone caught outside the tunnels will be disqualified. Rule number 2, there is to be no lights used whatsoever. Everyone must hand their phones in to me, and you will get them back after the game. A ripple of murmurs rang out from the crowd. One boy spoke up.
What if we hurt ourselves? Then we can't call for help.
Ryan looked down nervously and scrolled through his phone looking for something. Those are the rules, man. Sorry. A few people groaned. And finally, rule number 3. If you're caught, you are not allowed to reveal the location of anyone else hiding. You must return to the opening of the tunnel and wait for the game to finish.
Are you the Seeker?
Someone called out. Ryan pulled his jacket tighter nervously. No, I'll also be hiding. Then who is the Seeker? Someone else called out. Everyone, please hand your phones to me and we can start the game. He opened a backpack and one by one people dropped their phones into the bag. I remembered the phone Sam had given me. This is what it must have been for. When it was my turn, I dropped the dummy phone into the bag and walked inside. When everyone had entered the tunnel, Ryan's voice called out behind us, echoing loudly. The game starts in 30 minutes. That kicked everyone into gear. People were shoving and pushing their way into the tunnel. I could hear laughing and yelling, and Millie pulled me down a connecting tunnel. Only a couple of people joined us, and we ran down a few connecting tunnels. It smelled like shit down there, and my shoes were getting soaked in the disgusting water. We ran for 10 or so minutes before we were alone, and found a rusty painted metal ladder. We climbed it, and it creaked and squealed. I let Millie go first because I wasn't confident it could hold both of our weight. At the top was a small hallway with a door and a sign next to it. Authorized personnel only. I tried the handle, but it was locked. Millie shoved the door hard, and surprisingly, it popped open. Damn, Mills, when did you start going to the gym? I joked.
Shut up, Dick Brain.
She spat back and pushed me inside. We shut the door behind us. It was a small control room with old-looking monitors on the wall and old metal shelving filled with documents and manuals.
Hey, come help me with this,
Millie called out, pushing a shelf. Together we pushed it in front of the door. We sat on some old desk chairs and caught our breath. This is a pretty fucking good spot. I reckon some people will just keep running until the time runs out, I said finally, spinning around in the chair. Millie climbed off the chair and crawled under the desk and began messing with some wires. What are you doing? I jumped off the chair and crouched next to her.
Trying to get these screens working. Maybe we can use them.
I laughed, although it was a good idea. After a few minutes, she pushed herself out and tried turning the computer on. Nothing. She sighed and slapped it. The computer came to life and the lights on it blinked. Out of the 4 screens on the wall, only one of them turned on. It was a login screen prompting us for a password.
Shit,
She cursed, looking through the desk drawers. I helped look in some folders but didn't have any luck.
Bingo.
Millie called down, pulling a sticky note off the bottom of the keyboard. She plugged in the password and the screen opened up to a desktop with a black background. There were only a few applications. Before Millie could open one, there was a loud siren sound that rang through the tunnel. It sounded like an air raid siren. It played for a few seconds, then cut off. What the fuck was that? I stammered.
The game must have started.
Millie said, a little too nonchalantly for my liking. She clicked on a little icon of a camera, and it opened a window with a bunch of different CCTV panels. There were about 40 panels, but only 5 worked. The rest of them just had a small error saying unable to connect to camera. The cameras were dark, and it was difficult to see what was happening on them. The green hues from the night vision made everything look strange. Millie pointed to one of the cameras.
Look, there's David and Sarah.
On the camera, I could see them crouched behind a large metal pipe. Sarah looked like she was laughing, and David kept peeking around the corner. Another camera showed a long hallway, smaller and tighter than the other tunnels, like a connecting access corridor. Millie clicked through the views. So far, the only people we could see were David and Sarah.
I think we hit the jackpot.
Millie slapped me on the back. I caught something happening on the cameras and pointed to it. Millie clicked on it, and we saw the view of David and Sarah. But there was another person there. It looked like someone I had seen in the crowd. The figure was standing in front of them, and David was standing up with his hands raised in mock defeat. Suddenly, the figure lurched forward and threw David into the wall. My heart dropped. David hit the wall and slid down. He wasn't moving. Sarah looked like she was screaming, and she went to get up to run away, but the figure grabbed her and dragged her out of the view of the camera. What the fuck was that? I cursed, my heart pounding.
Holy fucking shit.
Millie gasped. Who was that? Who the hell? David is he fucking dead? On the camera, he wasn't moving, and his head was slumped sideways. I felt my blood run cold. I remembered what Sam had told me. Do not trust faces. You will know who is your friend and who is a seeker. What do we do? I choked. Millie turned.
Put another shelf against the fucking door, now.
Together we grabbed another shelf and pushed it against the door. Will that hold it? I stammered.
I don't know.
She replied as she tried moving a few boxes in front to reinforce it. We stood there in the middle of the room, hearts racing, trying to figure out what to do next. What other camera views are there? I asked, pointing at the screen. Millie started clicking through to the other ones. One of them had someone standing right underneath the camera looking up at it. In the green light of the camera, his eyes didn't look right. They shifted back and forth unnaturally. I couldn't tell who it was, but I recognized them from part of the group that went in. He heard a scream ring out from off in the distance. We're so fucked, dude. Millie shot me a look.
We will be if you don't chill the fuck out. I mean, what if this is all a prank?
Did that look like a fucking prank to you? Because it looked pretty fucking convincing to me. I argued back. We heard another scream, slightly closer. I looked around and found a large map stuck to the wall. It had been badly worn away, but I was able to locate where in the tunnels we were. I called Millie over and I traced the shortest route to take to get out.
Quick, take a photo of the map.
She snapped. I grabbed my phone and took a photo of the map. The flash from the camera nearly blinded me. What do we do? Do we just go out the door and hope we don't get found? Millie looked at the door, then around the room, then back at the map.
Fuck, I think that's the only way out of here. Doesn't look like any other doors or vents connect to here.
Okay, so should we go now then? My voice was shaking and I could feel my pulse in my ears. She looked around again.
I guess.
We heard a noise that made us both stop dead. The ladder was creaking and groaning. Millie's eyes went wide and she grabbed me and pulled me under the desk. It was tight and we barely both fit under there. She pulled the desk chairs in front. She pushed her fingers to her lips. She didn't have to tell me twice. The ladders kept creaking and groaning and then stopped. The door handle twisted and we heard the shelving groan, but the door stayed shut.
Hello? Is anyone here? Can I hide with you guys?
A small feminine voice called out from the other side of the door. Millie looked at me and I shook my head. I mouthed no. She nodded. A knock came from the door and the door was pushed again, slightly harder. The shelving creaked and groaned but thankfully hadn't moved.
Please, I'm scared, guys.
The voice called out again. The door shuddered again and again. The shelving groaned but held. I could feel the sweat run down my back. I quickly pulled out my phone and typed a message and showed it to Millie. The door won't hold. What do we do? She grabbed the phone and typed a message. She turned the screen and showed it to me. What if they really need help? I grabbed the phone and mouthed, "Are you fucking kidding me?" She shrugged. I could see her hand shaking.
You guys are being really mean.
The voice called out, but this time it sounded different, like two people talking at the same time. What the fuck? Millie mouthed to me, eyes wide. The door jolted violently, knocking one of the shelves over. Millie gripped my wrist so hard I thought she might pull it off. Then we heard another scream down the hallway, and then the sound of the ladder like something was descending it rapidly. Millie pulled me out from under the desk.
We have to go now,
she whispered. I agreed. If we stayed there, the creature would surely come back. We pushed the shelving out the way and slowly opened the door. Slowly, I said, pointing to the ladder. It squeaks. She nodded and descended it slowly. She made sure not to make any creaks. When she made it to the bottom, I started to descend slowly and quietly. When I got near the bottom, my foot slipped off the rung and the ladder groaned loudly, echoing down the tunnel. We heard something. Someone was running towards us. I jumped down the rest of the ladder and almost slipped on the wet concrete when I hit the ground. Millie grabbed my arm and pulled me down the hallway. We sprinted down the hallway. I wasn't athletic by any means, but Millie was. She ran track. If she wasn't holding my arm so tightly, I would have fallen back. She quickly pulled me into the divot in the wall, just shallow enough to hide. She put her hand over my chest and pushed me flat to the wall. I could hardly breathe. I couldn't really see anything in the darkness, but we heard the thing run straight past us. I almost gagged. It smelled awful, like manure or sour milk. After a couple of seconds, we came out and ran in the opposite direction down the tunnel. My legs and chest were burning.
The map,
She whispered.
get out the map.
I struggled to get my phone out while running, but I managed to get it on. Right. I pushed her to the right and we ran down the next tunnel. I felt her grip loosen and I heard a thump. I turned and shone my phone's flashlight.
Ah, fuck.
She cried out. She had tripped over something big. I ran back to pick her up and almost threw up. It was Sarah. She was completely deformed. The bones under her skin looked like they had broken and her body looked mangled. Her face was gaping in a scream. What the fuck? I yelled, pulling Millie up, and we continued to run. I looked at the map and pulled her left. We ran down another tunnel and we heard something yell from behind us. It sounded deep and guttural. I almost pissed my pants and we picked up the pace. We took another right and saw the pale moonlight peek through the opening of the stormwater tunnel. I yelled and we bolted straight out into the cold air. I tripped and stumbled out of the tunnel, rolling down the hill. The gravel and sticks cut my face and jabbed and poked me as I rolled before I hit a tree. A sharp pain shot through my back and my vision was blurry. It took me a few minutes to get up, but I eventually got to my feet and began calling out for Millie. I stumbled around, my head was swimming, and I felt nauseous. I heard Millie call out my name and I bumbled over to her, checking to see if she was okay. She was standing just outside the tunnel entrance.
Yeah, are you okay, dude? You're bleeding.
The back of my head was throbbing and my arms were stinging. Yeah, I lied. Let's just get the fuck out of here. We need to call the fucking cops. I groaned.
And say what? They won't believe us.
She said, taking me by the arm. We have to do something. People are dead down there.
The only proof we have is if we get Sarah's body, dude. We have to go back in there and drag her out.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You're joking. I am not going back in there. Her grip on my arm tightened.
We need evidence, and you are not letting me go back in there alone.
I felt my face get hot. I wanted to cry. We had made it out and now she wanted to go back in. She pulled my arm and dragged me inside. Her grip was stronger than usual. The tunnel was completely silent. No more running or screaming sounds. We crept through the dark and I used the flash on my phone to light up the darkness. We took a few turns into the tunnel when I felt my phone vibrate. It was a message from Millie.
Outside the tunnel, found my phone and bag. Where are you?
My heart dropped. I stopped walking and Millie turned to look at me. I finally got a good look at her face. My stomach turned.
You broke the rules, Declan.
Man, as soon as I saw the part where he said, oh, she was standing in front of the tunnel still, I knew that's what would happen. That was unfortunate. His brother said, if you lose sight of them, that's it. Call it a day. Pretend like they're gone. And he did not heed that part of the warning. So that's really unfortunate. MC did his best. I wonder what it is. Maybe one monster in the tunnel that needs to be fed every year. I don't know how someone gets picked. I don't know how the tradition continues. I wonder how Sam, the MC's Declan's brother, got out of that. How the frick that happened or anything. So that was definitely something. I think, yeah, he should not have gone back in there. That's just unfortunate, stupid MC sort of, things. Well, maybe we'll get a second part, a prequel, an explanation of how Sam got out, and maybe a sequel of what happened after, from Millie or maybe from Sam. Maybe they worked together to end the ritual in the tunnel. So yeah, anyhow, thank you all so much for listening. I will see you all in the next one. Ego Volt Anima Vestra.